Hey guys, it's Kate, and we are going to do something kind of fun today. So I am first going to get down a layer of paint on this background. So I'm dipping into my Payne's Gray. I'm going to make a really light, kind of watery mix of that color. And I'm going to go next to it to my indigo and do the same. So indigo is, as you can see, a lot of similarities between that and the Payne's Gray, but it's got a little bit more of a bluish tone. So I'm going to take my spray bottle and give this a light mist. And I'm going to come in with my brush first to that Payne's Gray. And I'm just going to dab it in, just like this. And I'm going to kind of spread out that color, but leave some white space. And then I'm going to come into this indigo and I'm just going to drop that in sort of alongside of it in some areas and just get that extra blue in just a few spots. Just like that. And so we've got a pretty good coverage on most of our paper, and it's also very wet. And I'm going to come in with some plastic wrap. And so we're going to use this on top of our watercolor to let it dry and give it some texture. But I'm going to kind of control it a little bit. I want it to kind of bunch together more at the bottom and then kind of come out into a few lines, but some of that other texture there is just fine with me. But I want the general direction to be coming out from the bottom. And I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to give you a quick little close-up so you can see. And we are going to let this dry completely with the plastic wrap right on it. And then when we come back, we'll pull it off and see what we've got. All right, I'm back and we are fully dry, and you can see this beautiful texture that was left behind by the Saran wrap that we put on the paper. So I'm going to add a second layer here, but I like to imagine these are kind of tree branches or something like that. And so I'm going to go into my burnt umber, and I'm also going to add a little bit of that indigo, just so that we can kind of keep that color tone going. But I'm going to water this down quite a bit and go in light where these branches are. So I'm just going to kind of make these stand out a little bit, and I'm going to go in very easy, and I'm also going to drag it out a little bit so we can almost get a soft edge going with this. And I'm just going to go very gently through here and really take advantage of that mark that was left behind by the plastic. You can see I'm just following along. I'm going to kind of put my shadow to the left side, almost like the sun is coming from the right. And I'm just kind of dragging it down and really softening these paint strokes here. Okay, I'm going to let this dry and come back in for another layer. Okay, I'm back and we're mostly dry, and I've got another pretty light mixture of mostly indigo with a little bit of that Payne's Gray like we had on the background. And so I'm going to go in here and do a little bit of scumbling, but first I'm just going to test this for lightness, and I'm going to add a little bit more water to this still because I really just want to make it a nice light color. And I think that should do pretty well. I'm going to kind of do a little bit of glazing and we'll see what we get from there. So I'm going to kind of come in. I'm going to blot my brush and kind of come in here with some light leaves. And I'm going to be doing a lot of blotting. I want this to be just very loose and light. And I'm just going to give the hint of some foliage here. Just like that. I'm going to come in up here. And I'm going to blot my brush back again. And just go over this color. And I'm going to come off my painting a bit too and do some rolling of my brush, kind of make those marks just very organic feeling, like that. So then we start getting a look like this might be a tree. I'm going to have some of these kind of come behind and get a little bit more wispy. Like this. We're just going to give those hints here and there. Do a bit of dry brushing, but just keeping it very light. And I've got some of that yellow mixing in, but I'm kind of staying away from that for right now. So I don't really see yellow coming into my paper, so this is fine. I'm going to blot and just get this very loose and just marky. And you can kind of see we're not really doing anything but putting in some hints of marks in some places. Okay, I've got quite a bit of yellow here, so what I'm actually going to do is blot this back a bit and mix a little bit of new color. So I'm going to go into my indigo and just a little bit of Payne's Gray and plenty of water. Just like this. And I'm just dipping into my jar of water and just getting new water. And you can see it pretty much matches. So I'm going to go in here and do a couple little darker marks over where I already had some of these leaf marks. And I'm going to do some more dry brushing, just adding in some of that fun texture here. And I'm just slowly building these layers. I'm going to do some brushing here. And give it a little bit of depth. And if I feel like I have too much color, I'll just blot and come back in. And then some of these background areas, I'll just add a little bit of darkness here to kind of highlight some of these shadow areas sort of in the background. And we'll add some more texture to our tree. And we'll have a good amount of shadow. That way we have some more contrast, but I'm going to keep these edges nice and soft. And just start, it's almost like we're negative painting a bit between our branches. And it'll help our branches kind of stand out more from the background. And we can also have it kind of develop and lead into our leaves. And we're adding lots of shading here. And I'm blotting often because I'm just kind of dragging some of this out, just like this. And I'm scrubbing a little bit where I want to soften edges. And I'm just kind of embracing these natural lines that we had from our Saran wrap. Like that. And I think this is looking pretty gorgeous. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of deeper color and come back in here for some more. And then if I blot, I won't do that. I'll blot my brush and just kind of come in from the side and soften those sort of blobs that my brush is leaving behind. So I'm adding these beginning marks, and then I'm blotting, and then I'm coming back in just to rough it up a bit. Let me add a little bit more water here. Blot and rough it up. And I'm doing this in just a few places. I don't want it to be too uniform looking, but just sort of where we have some different levels of color. Maybe I'll add some more around here, just like that. Rinsing, blotting, and letting that color go. All right. I think this looks really beautiful and it's so textured. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit more. Oops, that's not the color I wanted. Maybe it was. Was it? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to add some of that burnt umber back into this indigo, and I'm going to deepen up a little bit down here at the bottom. Just a little bit in a few spots. I'm going to rinse and blot and come in and drag that out some more so we've got even more depth of color here. And I'm working with a pretty small brush, so it's kind of nice to just sort of scrub at this a little bit, which I can't really do very much with my larger brush, so it really helps kind of blend this in the way I want it, and I can even drag it up higher and just really kind of go to town with my brush strokes. Okay, let's add some more here and maybe up this way. And I'm being sort of selective where I want to put it. And some of the spots where I got a little bit of a lighter line, I'm just going to leave those lines there. But I am going to come in and spread this one a bit and just kind of get the edges to where they're blending in. This is a very limited color palette painting, but I actually love this, and I am going to maybe do some more studies on this with the plastic wrap because it really has some beautiful looks. So I'm going to hold this up for a close-up, and you can see where having a limited palette, you can really play around with your values, and it really, I think, is a beautiful painting. So I am going to finish this here. but definitely revisit this technique. And so I hope you enjoyed doing this with me today. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep creating. Bye.